Well, hello, everyone. I want to read for you what I believe are some of the most powerful words ever written. And they're over in Genesis chapter 1, starting in verse 1. These are the first words of the book known as the Bible. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, 'Let there be light.' And there was light." Many years ago, my father read these verses after a very troubled period in his life. He didn't believe in God. He didn't even know there was a God. He'd had a very troubled life with alcohol and drugs. And he had made the decision along the way to end his life. He asked himself the question, what have I not done? And it occurred to him that he hadn't read the Bible. And upon sitting down and reading the first 3 verses of the chapter of Genesis, it struck him that these words made the most sense than anything he had ever heard before. There's some great truths in these words. First of all, that God is the beginning of everything, that he was before anything else ever existed, that he is the source of all things. And you go on and read in the first chapter of Genesis that God made light, he made the dry land, the oceans, what God called the seas. He made the sun, the moon, and the stars. He made the birds that fly in the heavens. He made the fish of the sea and all of the great sea creatures. He made the beasts that walk on the earth. He made the insects, all of the things that crawl on the earth. He made everything. And he made you. And he made me. He made man in his image, as it says. He is the source of everything. This also implies something about God, that God is a person. He's not just a thing, for things do not speak, as the Bible says, things into existence. He is the source of all things, but he is not a thing himself. He is a person. He is not the sum total of everything, as some religions believe, but he is the source of everything. He is outside of everything that he made, and he is over everything. He is greater than everything that he made. Many of you are out there, I know, who have been wanting to find purpose and meaning in your life. And I want you to just ask yourself this question. What if the words of Genesis chapter 1 are true? I mean, you don't have very many options for the origin of the universe. Either a personal God did as Genesis suggested and spoke everything into existence, or another option would be that everything in the universe, matter and energy and everything, was somehow always present and then somehow gathered together into a tiny spot and then exploded billions of years ago. And then that from that explosion, that big bang, that everything that we know today existed. And I mean, of course, there are other options, you might say. I mean, we could all just be in some big delusion imagining all this. We could all be living in a yellow submarine. But, just bringing it back down to reality, really, logically speaking, sensibly speaking, if we're going to be reasonable about things, there are only 2 options. Either matter and energy have always existed, and that everything we see here has just been brought about by random chance, or there is a God who has formed everything. there is someone out there that has made everything and has done a pretty fantastic job of making it. I mean, just look at all the intricate details and all the beauty in the world. I mean, we look at the world and the trees and the sky and the sunset and the birds and the animals. We say those things are beautiful, and we just assume that they are beautiful. We don't explain why they're beautiful. We just say they're beautiful, and it's because they are. We innately believe they are. It's because there is such a thing as beauty. There is such a thing as truth. And there is such a thing as God that made this beauty and that made everything with the breath of his mouth. And if that is true, what does that mean for your life? I mean, if you are searching for meaning and you're searching for purpose, then that search is over. I mean, with God, you found the meaning and the purpose. And imagine what that could mean for your life if you truly believed in God and you learned about him from his word. And that's what he invites us to do. So just think about these things that I've brought to your attention. And I hope you read Genesis 1:1-3. And that, like my dad so many years ago, those words make the most sense to you of anything that you've heard.